We still got a little bit of thickness on that toe just there, all right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to take a bit more off the toe, so I'm trying to get that to disappear. But I only need to do a couple of strokes, I would think.
Is that the white line appeared?
Yeah, you've got it just there. So it's only just reappearing, and the wall is outside of that. You can see there's this, where the white line is reappearing, and there's a little bit of wall there on the side, but there's still a, but there's still a small square-ended toe, so we can drop that a bit more. Now when we're pairing here, we mustn't go through into the quick, so I can push there a few times with my thumb, so you can feel that it's really hard, isn't it?
Yeah.
So no, we're not getting too close yet.
Is that how you can tell if you're getting near the quick?
Yeah. No, as soon as you get in and get very soft, then you've got to stop. See, it's just going slightly red there, isn't it?
Yeah.
But in fact, that's okay.
Is that the quick, that redness, or?
Yeah, either the quick or maybe there's a blood clot underneath there. As we do, and maybe a crossways shot. And that square-ended toe now has in fact disappeared. So that would really be the end of, that would be the end now of cut number 2 on that claw. Yep. That bit is gone. So there's just the wall has reappeared there. We've got an overgrown spike there and a bit there. We'll round that up with a file in a minute when we do the other claw. Now, cut number 3, remember, is the dishing out of this solar area here. If we put the hoof knife across there now, it would almost be taking weight at that point there. So cut number 3, and this is where I use the other side of the reversible knife, is just to dish that area out there, like that, taking weight off what would be the sole ulcer area. So this is still weight bearing, and most of that is still weight bearing, but we're taking the weight off there.
Is that the white line again going up through there?
That's right, and that's the end of the white line there, because that is the last part of the wall at that point. In a normal hoof, this part here should not be a weight bearing area. There shouldn't be any wall there. A little bit of black there that I probably ought to have taken out. I don't think it'll lead to anything, no, but it's better gone. So we can now do the same with the other claw. Right, so we'll trim that up a bit. There, you see quite a...
Is that just dirt marks in there?
Yeah, and a stone there, you saw that the stone come out. If you get stones impacted in there, the cow standing on that stone, that will actually cause lameness.
Because it's actually gone in quite deep, I can see where it was buried in there.
Surprising, isn't it?
Yeah.
And there's almost a little bit of underrun sole there. So we'll take some of that off, like that. And there's an interesting area there, although it's on the inside claw. Do you notice that there's just a change in horn formation actually on the sole ulcer site? So we particularly want to take weight off there. We'll now trim off the rest of this hoof, cutting down through there, and try to remove that solar ledge, that square-ended toe on that side as well.
What's that rough white patch bit there?
Well, that's just flaky horn, and again, it's thought to be associated with laminitis, in that the horn didn't form properly. You sometimes get quite big pockets of horn there. You can see how the white line now is reappearing around that corner, and the square-ended toe is almost gone. You need to take a bit more off there. Yeah.
That looks very hard hoof down there.
Yeah, it is. It does seem to be harder than the other claw. If you want to, you can do a transverse piece there to get your correct level. Now that wall is a bit high, so we'll have to take a bit of that off. But if we wanted to, we could take some of that off with a file.
So do you have to try and identify the white line like there, so you're cutting into it to sort of find it? Is that the idea?
You certainly need to be able to see the white line and then see the wall of the hoof on the outside of the white line. So we've got to trim a bit more off this toe here until that wall is gone. And you see these black tracks here. You probably ought to remove those because they could be the site of pus going down through. So that's okay. Now a little bit more dishing is needed here to take that area out. Just a few backward flick strokes with the knife.
What's that coming there?
Well, that again is the sole ulcer.
Yeah.
You can see that there's small spots of blood there. That's that's blood mixed with horn. So as the horn was being formed, the corium was being pinched, releasing blood, here we have blood mixed with horn growing down through the foot. That's growing down at about 5 millimeters per month, and will hopefully eventually grow out. But if we take a few more strokes off there, like that, now then we can make absolutely sure now that the weight is taken off that area. You see that small blood clot there is growing out. You see it there?
Yeah.
That's right. And I suspect if I just do a couple of pairing strokes there, that will disappear altogether. So there it is, that little piece. So you've got the blood clot in that piece of horn.
So that means now if you take that away, the ulcer's actually gone. You've got rid of the ulcer, have you?
Well, we've got rid of that point of hemorrhage, and if that was a big point of a large area of hemorrhage, then yes, you would be removing the ulcer. But an ulcer really means a hole through the horn. The word ulcer means an erosive hole through the horn in the foot. And that is just the beginnings of an ulcer. But it just shows that something went boom, hit that foot, produced hemorrhage, and that piece of blood was growing out through the bottom of the foot. Just tidy that up a bit there. Probably need to take a touch more off the outside of that horn. So dishing there then is our cut number 3. Dishing that is our cut number 3. And you'll see that in doing that we've certainly created a nice space there between the claws. Now some people say that when you finish trimming, the two claws should not be touching. Well, that simply isn't true, because of course if you lift the foot up like that with your hand to look at it, the claws will always touch. And when she takes weight on the ground, her weight will force the claws apart. We've got that one just slightly too long, but we can probably file that back with a file. You can see that our outer claw is quite a bit higher than the inner claw.
This is higher than this?
Yeah. So if we were to put that across there, the knife is on an angle. So now our cut number 4 then is to take this claw down so it's equal in height to that one.
Yeah.
As we're doing that, the heel is also, this heel here is too high, so we're going to take a small amount of horn off all the way around.
Can you ever take it down too low?
Yeah, certainly. If you over trim them, then you'll make them lame. Now you'll notice now that in fact the horn is quite a lot softer, because as you get closer down into the foot, you get to less mature horn, and that horn is softer. Softer, not that you can squeeze it, but softer in that it's easier to cut. And I'm going to have to go fairly carefully here so that make sure that I don't actually over trim her. So that's to that. Now,
again, to a novice, like myself, I've not done this before. How are you going to know how close you are? Just by feeling whether
just
you're
by
near
feeling,
to the
yeah.
sole?
But you were just touching it there. You've got to catch hold of it and squeeze it really hard. Now there shouldn't be any give there at all.
No.
Whereas if you squeeze, well, there's none there either. You know, at the moment then we're okay. But if you squeeze it hard and you feel a small amount of give, then you've really got to the stage where you must stop.
Yeah.
And particularly if you're down on the sole and you're getting the give, then just stop. There's nothing worse than starting off with a cow that's a bit overgrown and ending up with one that's severely lame. The final stages now will be to take the rasp and smooth off these sharp corners. If you're doing a lot of rasping, again, you ought to wear gloves, because the rasp can certainly damage your hand. We'll do the same to the other claw there. Take it around. Make sure that inner claw is also flat from the heel to the toe. There's a good, really good weight-bearing surface right up through there. Right to there.
Really, you're just sort of making it good and smooth and
Yes, you are.
tidy.
Yeah, it's tidying it up. But at the same time, you are making sure that all of that is a weight-bearing area. What sometimes happens is you can over-trim the toe, and the toe isn't making contact with the ground or something like that. And obviously, we want to avoid that.
Okay, Roger. Now we've got the claws looking good and tidy. What about these cracks up here? They look pretty painful.
These are erosions of the heel, and it's very difficult to know what to do about them. Certainly if there was pus tract underneath there, or it was really severe underrun horn, you'd have to take them away. What I don't like doing is cutting away any more of the heel than necessary, because of course as soon as you remove the heel, that will make the cow sink even further back on her heels, and her toes will turn up. We'll have rotation of the pedal bone inside the foot, she'll be uncomfortable, and we shall be back on the whole scenario. So personally I think that there's no great cavity in there, and I'm going to leave that bit of heel there.